right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our first BG5 Live. We've been playing around with this idea for several months, and we thought this would be a great opportunity for us to connect with all of you on a regular basis, and also be able to have you connect with us to get to know us, and also give us the opportunity to share a little bit about BG5 and take a look at how it can really make a difference in your life. And we're going to do this both for those of you who are BG5 consultants and have taken a lot of training in both human design and BG5, and for those of you who are brand new and want to find out what BG5 and human design is all about. So that's what we're here doing. So before we jump in, I want to do a quick introduction of everyone. So my name is Karen Sherwood, and I am the director of training here at the BG5 Business Institute, and one of the instructors, of course, for the whole curriculum. And so it is my pleasure to be here, and thank you, each and every one of you, for being here, whether you're here live and experiencing our very first BG5 Live, or whether you are listening to the recording. And so next, I'd like Lavina. Lavina, if you can introduce yourself and say hello.
Sure. Thanks, Karen. Hi, everyone. My name is Lavina Archers, and I am a BG5 certified consultant. I offer marketing support and some teacher's assistant support here at the BG5 Institute. Really glad to be here with you all and to continue the conversation. I see some familiar names in here. I am also a certified human design analyst and teacher, too. So I bring that aspect of human design to the BG5 work world. And I would not have the business that I do have and the success that I do have without having had Karen's mentoring. So I highly recommend, if you're interested in learning what BG5 can do for you, to continue on this series with us, because we are going to be doing weekly meetings where we just talk about what BG5 is and how it can help you. So thanks. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Lavina. And Natalie, take it away, Natalie.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Nathalie Keizer. I'm Dutch. I live in Amsterdam. And I'm an instructor as well at the BG5 Business Institute for the foundation course, and going to start the first BG5 consultant certification course in May. So I'm very excited about that. And also doing back-end work and detail work, since that's part of my design. Yes. For the Institute. So yeah, I'm very happy and excited about this new BG5 Live, and looking forward to how it all unfolds.
Awesome. And we also have Kris. Kris isn't able to join us today, but she's part of our team, and she wrote an amazing article, which we'll talk about a little bit later in this BG5 Live, and it's going to be the theme of our next couple BG5 Lives. So a huge welcome to Kris as well, and introducing Kris. So, where to start? You see my cat at the back of my chair.
Yeah, that's what usually happens. What we hear but don't see.
So you actually get to see and experience my kitty as well. This is Moxie. All right. Nice. So let's jump in and get started. So again, welcome to our BG5 Live. And what we want to do today, we don't want this to go on. If any of you have taken courses with myself or Lavina or with Natalie, we have a tendency to sometimes go over time. So we're going to try to keep this short and sweet and simple, but I can't make any promises. But what we wanted to talk about today is what we're going to be discussing, and some of the topics and some of the things that we are going to cover during this BG5 Live. Now, we're really, in a sense, sort of jumping into the void. We're just, we're getting it started. And one of the reasons why we decided to start it today is because it is the anniversary of Ra Urahu's birthday. And so we thought we would celebrate by starting BG5 Live. And so for those of you who are not familiar with Ra Urahu, he was the founder of BG5 as well as Human Design. So a big honoring to him in getting things started today. So today is April 9th, 2019, and this is episode number 1. So one of the things that we would like to do in our BG5 Live is take a look at sort of what's kind of happening in the background. And today we have a quality 5 day. Now, if you don't know what that means, we're going to be talking more about that as we go through. So you'll start to get used to what we're talking about and what this quality 5 day, it's sort of like the weather, sort of the background frequency of the day. It's really about this universalizing message. And so what we're talking about is a specific trait. Now, in BG5, as well as Human Design, there are 64 individual traits. And today, the weather or the frequency, what things are like is trait 51. So there's the 51 theme. It's about initiative. And this happens to be about symmetry. So it's very interesting today because it really is about jumping into the void. And that's exactly what we're doing here today in starting BG5 Live. So we thought it was very, very appropriate. And oops, I have to move this here so I can see. This is the perfection of the warrior ego going through instinctive adaptation. So it's adapting to what is, so as you saw at the very start of this, we were trying to figure everything out. So, it's the perfection of trying to figure everything out and that instinctive adaptation. So being able to adapt to what's there. This is the transforming normal patterns into symmetrical adaptation that rides the shock to avoid devastation. So again, it's being able to be instinctively adaptive. And it's the competitiveness of being first. We're the first ones to do this. And it's having daring, having gall. I have to say I was a little nervous in doing this. We're actually not doing the Facebook Live. That's probably what I was more nervous about. But that didn't work out. So for those of you who are trying to tune in on Facebook Live, I apologize. You will get the recording here. And it is also the shock of awakening. And we're really in that time of really awakening to who we are. And so again, we thought this was the perfect day to start. And Lavina, is there anything that you would like to add? Oh, you are muted. Hold on you're muted. There you go.
Yeah, they're fixing some pipes outside my window, so I forgot. Sorry about that. Gate 51, I had the shock of my life this weekend by being in Aura with a bunch of human design people for the first time. And boy, those dynamics of being in person with people, it's no joke. It really is this frequency of correctness that we see in relationship to each other, how we're designed to interact with each other. And I asked her, it was Marianne Winiger, one of the first people to actually experiment with human design the way Ra brought it out. And she said that she had no idea that it was 51, that was about to be Ra's birthday. This is what she responded to. And it is a perfect week to get this started. So I'm really excited that we overcame our fears and our nervousness and we're just going for it, because that's what this gate is about. Just have the gall and go for it. So congratulations, Karen, for spearheading this, because it's really exciting.
Yeah, and just so you know, we've been putting this off, and now it's really about jumping into the void. And so how does this apply to you? So I really want to invite all of you to kind of take a look at your own life and take a look at, where is the opportunity to jump into the void? Where is the opportunity to dare? Where is the opportunity to awaken? Where is and here, there's that frequency of being able to ride the wave of shock that really leads to awakening. So really taking a look at where that shows up in your life, right? And if you happen to be born on this day as well, this is part of your life work theme. So one of the things that we take a look at in BG5 is we take a look at really what is your life work? What are you here to do? How do you interact with others? So just like what Lavina was saying, she was taking a look this weekend of how you interact with others. And we take a look at interacting with others one-on-one, in partnership. We take a look at interacting with individuals in small groups as well as large groups as well. And so understanding the dynamic, whether you have this trait activated in your career design or not, it still has an effect. This trait also happens to be one of the large business traits as well. So if you do happen to have this, and when we talk about large business, whenever you hear OC16, so OC16 is large business dynamics. So anyone who has the 51 in their personal career design also has an aspect of them that really fits into part of the management of a large business. All right, so that's kind of the theme for the day. Anything, Natalie, that you would like to add?
Oh, no, continue on. I'm loving this.
No problem. All right. So exciting day to start. So let's start again. It is Ra's birthday. So I wanted to actually take a look at a quote from Ra and one of the things that he said about BG5 so that we can really understand what BG5 is all about. So BG5 is the material potential, and understanding that material potential is something that needs to be understood very deeply in the design of a human being in order to be able to give them the tools that they need to be able to operate correctly in the future and be able to bring the material resources that they are going to need in their lives. Now, one of the things about BG5 that's different than human design, it's not about eliminating conditioning. It is about eliminating the ignorance of conditioning. So you see, any function that is open in your career design, that is an opportunity for wisdom. This is your opportunity through that filtering process that once you stop identifying with what's moving through you, you can take advantage of what's moving through you. So that's one of the things, one of the reasons why we wanted to bring up that 51, because that's part of, in a sense, what's moving through us right now. And so it's taking a look at how can we take advantage of that. So taking advantage of that both in your own personal career design, but also taking a look at how it affects us if it's not something that is defined in your design. Anything, Lavina, that you would like to add here?
With this, the big difference between human design and BG5, it's also about the practical application of human design. Like really, there's all this stuff in human design. You can go down many different rabbit holes, but with BG5, it feels like an evolution of what human design can do in the world. And so its practical material application really is the point here. So that's our focus.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like adding that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's really in BG5 Live. Also, if you take any of our courses, that's really what we dive into. And we're going to talk a little bit about that more today as well. One of the things that we also want to do, and we're not going to really dive into that today, but I just wanted to kind of give you a sense of what we are going to be covering in our BG5 Live. So one of the things that we may start taking a look at too is the BG5 Connection in Business. So taking a look at specific articles that are out there and how those particular articles actually relate to what we do in BG5. So this is one of the articles that I use in classes as well, because you can see the title of this particular article is what Google learned from its quest to build the perfect team. And what's very interesting about this article, and this was a New York Times article, is that they did all of these personal assessments. They tried to figure out how to build the perfect team. And what they came up with was, we don't know how to build a perfect team. But they didn't have BG5 because we have the ability to actually see what's below the surface to literally build the perfect team. but I don't know of any other personal assessment or career assessment or business assessment tool out there that goes to the depth and really shows us what is there behind the scenes. And so when we're taking a look at this.
Well, if I may, Karen,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, what you have in pink, that's really what they came up with.
Yes.
In Google.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one consistent thing they found, but they couldn't put their finger on it, was that a team climate characterized by interpersonal trust and mutual respect, in which people are comfortable being themselves, is what makes a team successful. But that's something they couldn't measure with any personal assessment tool, because it's the interaction of these specific people together. And that's what we can read with BG5.
Yes, exactly. And thank you for reading that, because I have a on the screen, it's covered.
Right.
I can't see it. So here is the key. And this is actually the key to being successful in your job, in your career, in your business. The key is this interpersonal trust, mutual respect, in which people are comfortable being themselves. Now, any kind of other assessment tool, you oftentimes answer a bunch of really silly questions. And, depending on how you answer the questions, depending on your mood that day, you can answer them completely different. It is, it's very subjective to whatever you're feeling in that day. Here, again, we have a tool that you can really get to the bottom and map out who you are, and really gives you the opportunity to be truly comfortable with being yourself. And that is ultimately, just like what Natalie was saying, that is ultimately the bottom line. Anything, Lavina, that you would like to add?
Oh, just a deep appreciation for this system, because there's nothing like it on the planet. And it's so true. I'm really glad you guys emphasized that point. In order for a team to work together, they have to trust each other. There has to be camaraderie, compatibility. There can't be too many compromises. And we can see it precisely in engineer teams like nothing else on the planet with the system.
Yeah. So this is one of the things that we'll explore too. So we'll take a look at, kind of what's going on in the background, taking a look at quotes, taking a look at how BG5 is connected and related to the business world. What we would also like to do is get your questions. So get your questions and being able to answer questions, so we can actually start doing that live. We won't do it today. Today we're just doing a basic introduction, but continue to join us, because that's one of the things we'll be taking a look at, and being able to answer your questions specifically, and just dive deeper. It's just an opportunity to connect on a weekly basis, and so we can get to know you, you can get to know us, and really explore all of this together. And of course, if you do want to go deeper, we have our courses and classes as well. So what I wanted to really focus on today, since this is the very first one, so for those of you who are brand new to BG5 and human design, what we wanted to also talk about is just really understanding what is BG5. Right? So that's a big question that most people have. It's like, what is BG5? What does it mean? Etc. So let's talk a bit about what BG5 is, so that we can just introduce it and we can go from there. So what BG5 is the career and business application of the human design system. So in essence, it's sort of the social geometry of career and business. So it's really taking a look at, how do you work as an individual? How do you work in partnership? How do you work in small groups? How do you work in large groups? So it's really understanding, and you think about business, right? If you think about making money, there are some exceptions, but most of the time we have to connect with others in order to make money, whether it's a client, whether it's a customer, etc. We're connecting with others to make money. So knowing what that social geometry is of career and business, just like we took a look at in that article, how to create a team that's very successful, how to create a large group that's successful, how do you create a partnership that's successful, how do you as an individual work successfully solo as well. So again, it really is that sort of social geometry of career and business. And in BG5, we look specifically at the most basic, practical, and fundamental issue that all human beings have to face, which is how to be successful materially. How can we be successful in our job, in our career, in our business? And how can we do it in a way that's fulfilling? How can we do it in a way that we're just not working to make money? How do we do it in a way that it also fulfills what our life work is, what our life purpose is? So have it be fulfilling in very deep ways. And this is part of what Lavina was talking about as well, is again, how BG5 is different. Anything, Lavina, you wanted to add?
Oh my, I got really moved hearing all of this. And, if I could just take a look at the slide, there's one more piece that I would like to add, and that is how can we avoid the pain and suffering?
Yes.
It's not just the gifts that get called out, but how can we avoid putting ourselves in situations where everything's just going to go wrong because it's not where we're designed to shine?
Yes.
Like one of the biggest keys. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a really, really good point, because most of us have, grown up, thinking that things should be a certain way or that we should be a certain way. And, in my job as a BG5 consultant, I have to say the biggest thing that people go, is that you giving people the ability to finally just be themselves.
Yeah.
Like all of the things that they make themselves wrong about and going, oh, that's a part of my design. I always thought it was something that was wrong with me. It's like, it's okay. And so the biggest thing is really just giving people permission to be themselves. And when you have permission to be yourself, think how successful you can be when you simply have the permission to be yourself. And that's all this really is really uncovering, what's operating behind the scenes and who you really are. Yeah. Thanks for adding that, Lavina. Yeah, brilliant. And so really, what does all of this mean? So what it means is we're taking a look at how you're designed to make money, right? What gifts do you have that other people will pay money for? Right? Ultimately, what our life work is, again, we want it to be fulfilling, how we make money in ways that are successful based on our career design. Also, how do we fulfill our purpose? So how can we fulfill our purpose and make money at the same time? And utilize our unique gifts. So taking a look at what gifts get called out of us, both in large groups, small groups, in partnerships, as well as working solo. And then also taking a look at what work environment do you work best in. You think, oh, well, that doesn't really make a big difference. For me, it was huge because for the longest time, I tried to create a business by myself. And I have what's called a collaborative assimilation. I am designed to work with others. And no matter how hard I tried, trying to create a business on my own, I could reach a certain level of success, but, it was always very, very limited. When I realized that I have a collaborative assimilation, I am designed to work with others, that made all the difference. And so in partnering up with Linda Bonnell, who is the director of the BG5 Business Institute, it has made all of the difference. I am now doing what I love and loving what I do, and I'm working in partnership, and I have a team, and and then having a team. I'm designed to work in small groups, and so having a small group, not only in partnership but also working in a small group, has made all the difference. So it's really important for you to understand what working environments do you work best. And the last one, understanding how we best work with others. As I mentioned before, in order to make money, we have to interact with others. So understanding others, understanding your clients, understanding your customers, understanding your coworkers, understanding your boss, understanding others, again, can make all the difference. Anything, Lavina or Natalie, that you would like to add?
Yeah, not only understand others in their design, but also how communication and interaction between you with your personal interaction style operates.
Yes.
Right? Because that's probably something we get to with the power of writing. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's everything. And that's one of the things that we're going to cover next month in the communication and manifestation course that we're going to be doing on Wednesday mornings, if that's interesting to anybody, because communication is everything when it comes to being able to have a successful business that manifests your dreams.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is what BG5 is really all about. And the other question that we get asked a lot is, what does BG5 mean? So I would like to say that it's, there's some big, deep, fancy meaning, but what it actually stands for is Base Group 5. And what the heck is Base Group 5? So the Base Group 5 is the foundational building block that determines the success of any business. So when we're talking about a base group, it's typically between 3 to 5 individuals that complete 12 core business skills necessary for success. So this is the small team dynamics. This also plays a role in large team dynamics as well. It is the base. So, here we have 3 people, and when you add Kris, we have a stable penta of 4. And so we call this small group a unified group, or we also call it a penta. So this small group dynamic, you can see that there are these 12 business skills. So you can see, let me see if I get my mouse here. So we have administration, we have public relations, we have oversight, we have planning, we have implementation, we have accounting, we have reliability, vision, coordination, culture, capacity, and commitment. Those are the 12 business skills that are necessary in any kind of business, whether you work solo, whether you work in partnership, whether you work in a small group, whether you work in a large group. So understanding how those 12 business skills work, and especially if you're designed to work either in a small group or a large group, this Base Group 5 is the base of everything. And again, one of the things to realize that even if you don't work specifically, for example, in a small group or a larger group, we are always moving in and out of groups, whether it be our family, whether we're out at a concert, whether we're out shopping, we're always moving in and out of groups. So understanding the effects that groups have on us personally, but also knowing how to work with groups, can be quite profound. So BG5 provides the mechanics to understand how group dynamics operate. Just like we were taking a look at that article earlier, it really does provide those mechanics that are operating behind the scenes, so you can really see what the dynamics of the group are. And it also provides us with the understanding of how we operate best, both in and out of a group setting. All right, so those are all of the pieces of what BG5 is all about. So again, what BG5 stands for is Base Group 5. And so again, taking a look at how we work in these different, if you will, auric configurations. Mm-hmm. Anything that you would like to add, either Natalie or Lavina?
I would, if I could, talk about just a little bit about how relieving, stress relieving, and pressure relieving, and guilt and shame and blame relieving, having this information for yourself, for your team, so that you're not trying to go and beat yourself up. Why can't I do this? Why can't I be like that? Why aren't things working? You can clearly see why things are not working, and you can clearly know what you need in order to facilitate everything running along smoothly and everyone being happy in their roles, to be able to be successful and satisfied. It's not an accident. It can be engineered. Yep. So with this system, we can do that.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So now you know what BG5 is all about, and now you know what BG5 means. So that's what we wanted to kind of take a look at today, just kind of giving you an introduction. We're going to try to keep this to around 30 minutes. Just so it's short and sweet and to the point. And so what we're going to start doing starting next week is taking a look at your superhero powers. And Kris wrote an amazing, amazing article. It's Your Superhero Power is Waiting. If you got our newsletter today, we have a link to that. If you go to the BG5 Business Institute, it's Your Superhero Power is Waiting. You can go directly there, or you can go to our website, BG5BusinessInstitute.com, and you can go to the blog and you'll see the Superhero Power is Waiting article there. So that's what we're going to start discussing in these next few BG5 Live, is taking a look at your superhero powers. So before we wrap up for today, I thought that maybe we could open it up and just see if there are any questions, any comments, anything that any of you that are able to participate with us live have either to say or to share. So we'll wrap it up by opening it up to sharing, and I have to figure out how this works.
Yeah, you can raise your hand, and so there is in your menu below a raise hand option, or just unmute yourself if you want to talk. So I invite any of you to share if you want to. So I see Connor, I see Dylan, Edgar, Lisa, Lori, Marije. Hi, Marije. Monica, Rick. Hi, Rick. Sylvia. Wonderful. Tanya and Teresa. So if any of you want to, say something, or so we have Lisa who wrote, thank you for your expertise and guidance. Yes, stay tuned each week and you will get a lot more of guidance. So I don't know.
Is that it?
Marije says no questions. You're great. You're all doing this. So thank you, Marije. And I was happy to see Marije because she was one of our first students together with me and Lavina, going through BG5 certification in the Business Institute. And Dylan says hello to you, Lavina.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, let's wrap up for today. So thank you, each of you who were able to attend here live. And so join us live Tuesdays at 1 p.m. U.S. Pacific time. Again, thank you. And again, if you do have any questions, please feel free to send it to us. You can always send it to me directly at Karen@BG5BusinessInstitute.com. And we can not only take your questions, but again, we're going to start continuing and diving into the conversation of taking a look at your superpowers. And that's what we're going to start with next week. So make sure that you read Kris's article because it's brilliant. And then we'll see you all next week. Any last words, Natalie or Lavina?
I'm just so happy we started.
Yep. Great to be here. Thanks everyone for being here.
Awesome. Well, thank you all, and we'll see you all next week. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.